Alright, now I think I got this for the most part. Alright, hello. My name is Twin Tiger, or more commonly as most people call me in real life, Thomas Kistner. I am going to talk today about something that should be kind of obvious, however, I really don't see a lot of in most videos when people talk about D&D games. And it's specifically rules for your first session. Now, your rules should be pretty basic. What time you should be there. What exactly should you bring? Food. Say it's 4 to 9, and you want people to eat while you're there. Is food provided, or will people need to bring their own? Kind of a constant question I would see brought up. However, most of my games are done online, so I can't even say, yeah, we're gonna have a potluck or something like that. But more of the main rules I'm gonna be talking about are stuff that should kind of be set in stone. Now, those of you who have been DMing for about 30, 40 years probably know how exactly to do all this, and those of you who have been playing with those DMs for 30, 40 years probably know all their rules. However, you should, if you're a first timer, like a new kid who's starting this up, and these rules kind of apply to all ages and also all levels of person, and also all generations. Sorry, all editions. There we go. That's the word I was saying. Editions of the game. Now, firstly, you should establish this. All right. Now, here's what I mean by this. Say you're starting off a game, and you don't really like a book, and you don't want it to be played. You don't tell any of your players. One of the players decides to build using that book, and you just get pissed off and start yelling at him. Now, to prevent that issue, you tell the players all the books that you allow prior to gaming. For example, I tell my players that I don't allow the game specifically known as Unearthed Arcana. I will admit that it has some pretty interesting and pretty cool game classes and upgrades for those classes. However, I don't want those classes to be mixed up with the original game and have a change to one class just so that then they can be a little bit better. That kind of annoys me, and so I kind of don't like it. However, other classes that specialize in it, I would allow. Like how the Spell Thief is specifically meant to steal spells from people, while the Rogue is only meant to steal objects or items. Now, after that, you should really think about this kind of in general. Now, what I mean, now this one is kind of also a given, however, it's also something that should be thought of because you would need to make certain that your tone of voice is okay for the group. not only for your character, but also so then you don't scare a little child that's randomly walking by as you're doing your character voice. If you're doing it in a family house, you might not want to cuss and swear to everybody, and just make certain that you're playing nice with everyone. If you're playing, However, if you're playing with a bunch of your friends from high school and you are just shooting the breeze, you can talk and swear as much as you want. However, if you really want to get if you want to be more of a socialite and join your local adventurers league, you may want to adjust your vocabulary, as I'll say it, for the games that you're going to be involved in. Now, next up is a problem that I see a lot between players and DMs. Don't get me wrong, it's okay to be mean to your DM, and also DMs, it's okay to be mean to your party members every now and then. However, if they completely just disrespect most of the things that you've been doing, I'm talking to DMs right now. If they're completely disrespecting the things that you've been doing, like say you've been doing this one thing for a good while, and someone is just fed up with it, A, you may want to start changing that. However, B, you don't want to shout it at the top of your voice, yelling at him and saying that he's a complete idiot for continually doing it. Now, I've never had something like this happen to me. However, I kind of like to keep my games loosey-goosey and also kind of try to do new things and keep up to date with all the info involving the games I do. Now, players, now talking to you, if you're playing and all of a sudden the DM is just continually starting off with hard campaigns and trying to make it seem nearly impossible to beat this enemy, you may want to talk to them right there and say, could you edit this enemy's difficulty just so that then your character can survive? Or just beg and plead for your life, because most DMs don't even, because sometimes the DM will just say, yeah, I wanted you guys to be knocked unconscious for this. If that's the case, then go ahead and continue to fight the enemy and get knocked out. Wake up without your stuff, and then, boom, you start the adventure from there. Now this one's for the DMs and trying to create a good campaign. Now, if you're trying to create a campaign that's more meant for fighters and don't tell any of the party, and they come up to the game with a wizard, a warlock, a war mage, and a barbarian, chances are only half the party is going to survive most of the encounters that you have built and spent about 3 weeks on. So you might want to tell the party, hey, I'm planning on doing this kind of campaign. If you guys could make some fighter type characters, samurai, a knight, barbarian, rangers, go ahead. Then pick those. The war mage, I kind of would expect to survive maybe a few fights, however, not too long, considering the fact that I don't believe they have too much health, however, they might. Anyways, players balance is essentially character balancing your game between you and what exactly you're playing as. Now, final topic I'm going to bring up really is more of an more of a fun thing to do and kind of less of a harp or a rule set like the others, but okay. Now, if you want your players to come back week after week, you want everyone to be able to enjoy themselves and have a fun time. You can't be throwing them 50,000 fights per night with everything at least having something close to a dragon. Unless that's what your party wants. Then, in that case, go ahead. But other players, most of the time, won't want that. They'll want their rogue character to be useful, and a fight isn't where they're most useful. They're most useful in a dungeon where you're disarming the trap that could kill the party if it's done wrong. Or, hey, your wizard ain't gonna do so good with a trap. However, he's gonna do great when he's trying to help the party figure out what the frick is the magical tome that he's staring at. However, other stuff that you're staring, other times you'll pretty much want to keep it fun and entertaining by giving a few special fights and entertainment by doing, say, the instead of using Monster Manual 1 for all of your game, do Monster Manual 2, 3, maybe throw in Monster Manual 5 or Monsters of Faerun. Now, I have access to all these, and I honestly kind of balance out the game so that kind of balance out the book usage so then my players can sometimes come back. However, a lot of the time, I'll just shoot the breeze and kind of just be like, some goblins show up and have them fight that, make it real easy. Other times I'll put something like if the players are high enough level and there's enough of them and they think they're pretty good with it, with their stuff, I'll send a Death Shrieker, which is like decently hard to kill if you're a level 5, if you have like 5 level 5 characters. I mean, that's what it took to kill the Death Shrieker when I ran it. Some results may vary, however, between fights. So, which is basically the player's balance once more. If you run through the campaign once with a bunch of magic users and they all died when they fought against 3 bugbears and an orc commando that you had in a fight, and then the next campaign you do the exact same thing, but they're all physical fighter types. Maybe one of them is a ranger, and they pretty much breeze through it. You should expect different results. So keep all that in mind, and you should have a great game. Thank you for listening. Hope you have fun.